Welcome back to Two Stall Stitchers. I'm Jennifer, and this is my mom, Carol. We're laughing because we just got a little clicker for the phone to record, and
you have to know which button to push.
You have to know which button.
Sometimes you try 2 or 3 when there's only 2, but then it finally works.
And then you go, oh, we're recording.
Good morning. It's Saturday morning. Way
Saturday
too early.
Morning. Yeah, so for some people this would not be early at all, but what is it, about 10 o'clock now? We're both up, showered, dressed, and in front of a camera, which is unusual because we're both night owls and not big morning people. But
so if I nod off, don't worry about it. I'll just speak for a little while.
But due to the schedule today, this was our best chance. So today we're here with a special episode. This is all focused on quilting, and we're going to talk to you about the quilt retreat that we went on last weekend.
Which was great.
It always is, yeah. So we'll tell you a little bit about the retreat, show you some of the things we bought or won, show you what projects we worked on, and tell you just a little bit about the town and what we do while we're on retreat. So I think...
We won't tell you everything, but we'll tell you most of it.
Okay. Well, why don't we get started? Do you want to tell them just a little bit about... I have my t-shirt on from one of the prior retreats. It's called the Threads of Mine Retreat. As you can see, this t-shirt is from 2019.
And mine is in the laundry. So I got the new one this year, and it's a red one and white, and of course I managed to spill something on it, and so I didn't wear it. And she reminded me just as we were starting, and it was like, too late. So you'll see it another time. But we go to a small town in northern Indiana called Shipshewana. It's primarily an Amish town. Everything closes at 5 o'clock, so don't ever think about running out for thread at 6:30. It doesn't happen. But it's a wonderful town. People are very friendly and everything. It's got 2 great quilt shops in it. It's got a great store. We'll talk more about them. Yeah. But we stay at the Farmstead Inn. We have we have the entire conference room, I guess you would call it, or ballroom. Yeah. And this year, normally there's about 99 people. Attendees, but this year there were 64, which was really great because we were spaced out well, and there was really no concern because I think just about everybody there had had their shots. I know in our group of seven, everybody had been shot up, so we were fine. We were
shot up. Vaccinated is another word for it.
Sorry. What can I say?
Yeah, so the retreat is run by a lady named Ruthie. She's fabulous, and she has now grown up to 3 retreats a year. When we started, there was just 1 retreat in the fall. We went to that very first retreat. There were 40 of us, I think, crammed into a third of the space, and now she's taken over the whole conference center, and this time there were about 65. I think the spring and summer retreats are usually a little bit smaller than the fall retreat. But we will link the information in the description so that if you guys are interested in attending a quilt retreat, you can find out more about it. Ruthie holds 3 a year now, 1 in May, 1 in July, and 1 in October. And the retreat cost is very reasonable. It's $45 for Wednesday from 3 p.m. to Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Although most people are gone Sunday morning. And then you pay for your hotel room. So
and there is a group rate.
There's a group rate, and we share a room, so it's divided. And some groups go, and 3 or 4 people share a room.
And meals are on your own, but you do have a microwave and a refrigerator in your room, so you can bring food. We've done that in the past. We actually did that this time. I went to Costco and got their chicken salad, which is great. And so we ate off that for a few days. So that helps to cut expenses a little bit, but it isn't terribly expensive to eat in Shipshewana. It's very reasonable.
Yeah.
We'll talk about more about that.
Yeah. So that's a little bit about our retreat. We've been going now, I think, 11 years.
We missed 1 year.
We missed 1 year because she was chairing our Guild Quilt Show. And then, of course, last year, you guys know what happened. In the spring, the retreat was canceled. It was held in the fall, so we did go in October of last year. But I think this is just like our 4th spring retreat.
Yes.
We used to go somewhere else and decided that this was a great location. Ruthie puts on a great retreat. So we thought, okay, let's go to Shipshewana twice a year. So we have a good time. Like Mom said, there were 7 of us in our group. I drove the minivan with 4 of us, 4 chairs, 4 sewing machines.
We'll insert a picture of the
4
back end of the minivan on the way
suitcases.
home. You'll be
Yeah.
impressed. She's super packer.
I've learned over the years how to pack a car pretty well, between Girl Scout trips and quilt retreats. So, so we came up. 2 came over from Illinois, and 2 others came from the northeast side of Indianapolis. So we come from the northwest side, so we all meet up there. And it's just a lot of fun. It was my first real vacation for the year, and it is just lovely to be in that area. It's very quiet. Like Mom said, everything shuts down at about 5 o'clock. And then it's just quiet in town, and it's really nice. It's a cute little town, cute shops, although we don't, outside of the quilt shops, we don't do that much shopping anymore. The first year, I think, we shopped all day, and when we got to the retreat, we walked in and we were like, oh, because everybody
really
was set
sewing.
up and sewing, and yeah, it was pretty funny. So so that's a little bit about the background. I'm sure we'll fill in a little bit more.
And the weather was really great the whole time we were there. And it was really neat because the space shuttle went over one night.
Yeah.
And Jennifer's husband is very much into the space stuff. So he had let us know it was going to go over. So at 10:59, we dragged everybody out who wanted to see it to watch the space shuttle go over. And many people had not seen it before, so they were really impressed. And there was one gal there who said, I go watch it every time now because you told us about it at the last retreat. So that was fun.
Yeah,
that was
it was
fun.
good
We waved
too.
at them, by the way, and they waved back.
All right, so I think we'll start. I'll tell you a little bit about this quilt, and then we're going to go first into the things we purchased, and then we'll go to the projects that we worked on. If you're wondering, there's really not any cross-stitch. There are a couple of cross-stitch project bags, but outside of that, not really anything cross-stitch related. But we hope that those of you who enjoy quilting or are just interested to see more will stick in and listen to the whole show. So first I'll talk about this quilt behind me. So this is a quilt top from the book Scrap Basket Beauties by Kim Brackett. I have had this book for a long time. You can see this is the quilt on the front. I did it in much softer, more muted colors. And I made this at a retreat probably 6 or 8 years ago. Promptly finished it up, put it in the pile of unfinished quilt tops and let it be. And I pulled it out earlier this year and got it quilted. So I did just a simple kind of wavy line, freehand design across it on my Handy Quilter Avante quilt, long arm quilt machine. I used, I think it's Glide thread. I'm pretty sure.
Looks like it.
And it was super quick to quilt up. And this is the thing I always do. I leave the tops and leave them and leave them. And then I quilt it. It only took like an hour and a half to quilt. So I'm like, why did I let that sit for 7 years? But I
Takes
did.
after her mother.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see a few things that you've let sit for a few years too. So this quilt from the book is called Hourglass. It finishes up at about 55 inches wide by 67 inches long, so it's a great lap size quilt. And I have it up because I actually took it to the retreat with the quilt top finished but not bound. And so that was one of my projects I just worked on, adding the binding. This was made out of a jelly roll that I got probably 12, 13 years ago. And I used all the more dominant, and that's kind of, I mean, it's really soft fabric anyway, but the more dominant fabrics on the pattern so that they would stand out from the cream. And then I used the really light ones in the binding. So it has a scrappy binding also from that jelly roll. And I think I managed to use up the whole jelly roll. There may be 1 or 2 pieces of it left. So looking forward to putting this one out. It'll be a nice spring lap quilt that I'm sure we'll all fight over on the couch. So
Including the dog.
yeah, she likes quilts too. So I think then we'll go into what we purchased.
Okay.
'Cause that's kind of at the top of our piles. But before we talk about what we bought, you actually won something.
Yes, I did. Ruthie gets door prizes every year, and we play a game. Let me just go quickly over that. We play a game, and at the end of each day, you get an envelope that has little pieces of paper in it, and it says Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And at the end of each day, you total up your purchases, and you don't put your name on the tag. You don't have to admit that you didn't spend money or you went nuts. And then you put it in the box. And on Saturday, late Saturday, she adds them all up. And then you put in your last ticket, which has, I think we all spent. And then you put your name on that one. And you have the total somewhere. But for 64 people this year, we spent $34,000 plus, I think.
Somewhere
about
in
34.
there. Yeah.
So anyway, that's just the game we play. And so when she's talking about that, also she has door prizes every night and everything. So I was really lucky because when she called door prizes on, was it Saturday night? I think.
Maybe. Yeah.
The first name she called was mine.
Yeah.
So I won this bottle of Best Press. It looks like an empty bottle because it's a spray bottle, but it's full. So it has Best Press in it, which I love. So this is really nice because it's got a really fine mist that comes out.
You
Also,
won't spray us right now.
no, I'm not going to demonstrate. I won't demonstrate, but I was going to say if you like this kind of bottle with a fine mist, Febreze, which is put out by somebody, they have the same dispenser on the top of the bottle. So, you can either use it up or dump it, and then you can fill it with Best Press or water or whatever you want to use. Straight vodka, doesn't matter. And then you can spray your stuff, and it's a really nice mist instead of big clumps of water around. Yeah. But anyway, that was my big haul.
That was exciting. It's always exciting when somebody wins.
Yeah.
And in all the years we've done it, both Mom and I have actually won the guessing game
Yes.
each one time of how much the group spent. And it's funny, the amount has gone up over the years. I always take a note of what I guess and what the actual amount is. So I look back over, but it just generally keeps going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we went into a shop called Lolly's, which is a fantastic fabric shop. Oh my! Their sale room is bigger than a lot of quilt shops, and their sale fabric was $7.95, and I just realized the pink stuff on the table over there. See that pile? Yeah. When we were in Lolly's, my friend was divesting herself of some materials. Some she'd inherited, some she'd been given. And so she had this set of 4. Now, I'm not really a pink person, but I thought it was really pretty. So, shocking. And I have a great pattern to make a 1-yard quilt, and I've made a bunch of them.
A 5-yard
quilt. A 5-yard quilt, sorry. Using 5 1-yard cuts.
1-yard pieces,
so I needed one more piece to fill it out. And so in the sale room, I found this. Yeah. So that's my 5-yard quilt. And I'll show it to you when it gets done. Hopefully you hang around that long.
Yeah.
Not today. And then as I was checking out for my 1-yard piece, my friend Paula was standing next to me with a beautiful stack of Orientals. And, she just stood there and I just stood there and I got this. I think it's gorgeous. I love Oriental fabrics. And I just love the color, and I love the pattern. Blue. Yeah, and blue is my favorite color. Yeah. And so before she got any, I asked him to cut me a 1/2 yard, but she didn't take the whole thing. So that was that. And this I got before we came because I was going to look for fabric up there, but I didn't. This is a layer cake from Riley Blake, and it's the new Land of Liberty. And I just thought it was really pretty. It shows all the fabrics on the back. And my friend Pam and my friend Kathy, who we quilt together every week, we are going to make a quilt using that. So we each ordered a layer cake, and that will come someday, soon, maybe.
This is your layer cake.
This is my layer cake.
You have to get coordinating fabrics for yours.
I have to get. Yeah. I just need a couple. I don't need a lot because you use
2.
I need it for a border, for sashings and a
border.
And a border.
Yeah.
But it's a nice pattern. So that'll show up at some point. And let's see, other haul. I have in Lolly's. They have a full-size rowboat.
Boat. Yes.
Boat. And in that boat, they have fat quarters. And they were $2.75.
And they're all rolled up.
They're all rolled up like that.
And tossed in the boat.
And it's a full-size boat, honest to God. Because one time when we were there was a lady who was digging very intently, and she knocked it over.
Yeah.
and the whole thing just flipped, and
And it's full. I mean,
it's full.
we
Yeah.
should have gotten a picture of it. We'll
Yes.
try and do that in the fall, but
Yeah.
it's great fun. And they take usually the ends of their fabric when they just have a little bit left, and they'll cut it into fat quarters. So you'll see the same fabric in the boat several times, but there are hundreds of fabrics, and they were all getting fabric cut. I wasn't getting anything cut, so I sat down by the boat, and you know what happens when you sit down by a bunch of fat quarters. So I started digging around, and I'll show these two first. These are two that I got from the boat that I thought would be good for cross-stitch finishing because they're nice, kind of on-point, ginghamy-looking fabrics. So those were my first two from the boat.
Go ahead and show the rest of yours.
And then we're always on the hunt now for project bag fabrics. So I found these two. I really like that plaid. And this one, it has a little bit of color variation in it. And then I got a red zipper. So at some point, these will become a nice fall project bag. And then these were actually in our bags at the retreat. So Lolly's also gives a little welcome bag, and it includes a couple fat quarters, a coupon to the pretzel place, which is one of my favorites, a magnet, and a bottle of water. And so these were my two pieces. You can see one is rolled up. This one I had to unroll because I was so curious about it was. And it's a border print, so it has all different stripes. I have no idea how or if I will use this. But it's a nice gift. This one will be perfect for cross-stitch finishing as well.
Okay, and while she was going through the boat, I finished buying my beautiful Oriental fabric, and I have pressed these already, so they're not rolled anymore, but I bought this one, which I thought was really pretty, and the blue, which will go with it. Yeah. So I have that. And then this was in my goodie bag from Lolly's, which was really exciting because they were so well coordinated. Just dump them. Okay, they were so well coordinated. It was this one and this one. How about that?
Hot peppers.
How about that? So that's 2 more project bags possible. And I don't think I bought much else.
No, you were pretty good. I think you might have bought like some interfacing or fleece or something for one of the projects.
Yeah, I bought some Decker Bond.
Yeah.
And I think I
think that's about it.
Except till we went to the bulk food store, but that's another story.
And then we also stopped, I guess we went to Yoder's, which is the other quilt shop in town. They always give us a $2 off your purchase coupon. I used mine to buy socks. And some interfacing for a project I'm going to show you in a minute. They have great socks up there. I love them.
It's a general merchandise store.
Yeah.
They've got fantastic shoes. They've got great fabric. They've got a hardware store. There's another quilt store that they bought out, and it's a neat place. You can kind of go broke in there.
Did you use your $2 coupon there? Do you remember?
Yes, I bought the Decker Bond.
The Decker Bond, yeah.
Oh, and I bought the binding for this.
Oh, okay. We'll show that when we...
There's a piece of it over there.
And then the third quilt shop that we went to is called Zinks, and we pass it on the way up. It's in Ligonier, Indiana, which is, I think it's about 20 minutes from Shipshewana. And Zinks it advertises itself as a fabric outlet. So they have all kinds of fabric. It's not just quilt fabric. Some of it is older fabric or second runs. But we stopped at Zinks. I have been watching Andra over at Andra Makes, and she sews beautiful clothing. And so I decided I'm going to try my hand at making a shirt of some type. So I got this knit fabric at Zinks. I think I got, 2 yards of it, and it was $4 a yard. So I can invest that much in seeing if I can make a shirt. The last time I tried to make a shirt, it didn't turn out so well.
I wasn't going to mention that, but that was a real challenge. She made it to cover her bathing suit and wouldn't wear it out of the bathroom.
And then I wouldn't wear it. It was bad. 7th grade, so hopefully this experiment at making a shirt will go a little bit better.
Okay, I think that's all my haul except the red, which is around here.
Well, it's on the...
It's on the quilt.
So why don't you show that next?
Okay, all right. So we'll talk about our projects.
The binding,
the one thing I like Jennifer, I tend to let things hide, and this I made sometime. I have no clue. But I pulled it out the other day. I was looking for something else, and I pulled it out of my bins, and lo and behold, here was this quilted wall hanging or table cover or something that was totally quilted but not trimmed and not bound. And I have no fabric left from it because God knows when I made it. So I took it with me and I went up to Lolly's, and they had this red and gold plaid fabric, which was perfect for the binding. Yeah. So I bought that the first day, and I came back and I made the binding and I trimmed this. And
oh, and tell them about the
the
hanging sleeve in the back.
I didn't have material for a hanging sleeve, obviously, and so they have a sale table up there where you can bring up stuff you want to sell. And so I went up and looked, and one of the gals that was with us, the one from Betty from Illinois, had put a package of fabric on the table, and I was like, I don't really want to buy any more fabric. So I picked up the bag, and it was a bunch of it was this wide.
A lot of neutrals.
All neutrals, and it was perfect for my back, my sleeve. So I came back, took it, paid her $3, took the piece I needed out of the bag, put it back on the table, and said, if you resell it, I get half. She didn't resell it.
She didn't sell
that
one.
Yeah.
And we have a picture of you with this quilt. At the end, we'll insert a bunch of pictures from the trip so you can see just show and tell, our antics, all kinds of stuff. So you'll see the full picture of this quilt at the end.
Then another project, I was looking for, I have several bins that have cross-stitch stuff and quilting stuff in it. And I was looking for some cross-stitch piece that I've managed to hide effectively. And while looking for it, I opened one bin and I was like, oh, look at all these projects in here. Well, one of them was that wall hanging, which Jennifer quilted many years ago, the first time she used her micro handles. So it's really tight. It almost stands up on its own. But she told me, I said, look what I found. And she said, oh, yeah, I quilted that. She said, I remember when I gave it back to you, you said, oh, thanks.
She didn't like it at all.
So it went in the bin. But anyway, it's done now.
Well, 10 years later, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does. That's what I said. Looks fine to me now. I don't care. And then I also, at the quilt show I chaired, which I believe was 2011, I bought a kit called the Mexican Star. And I safely put that away. And guess what I found in that bin? So I cut one Monday when we were sewing, and then I put it together, and this is as far as I've gotten with it. But it's going to be really pretty. It's all batiks, and I need two more borders.
The bottom, yeah.
I need 2 more borders, and then all these little pieces. Where can I reach?
There's one right there, I think.
Right here, yeah. They will all be folded back, so it'll look curved. All these pieces I have to go back and stitch down. But yeah, this was a lot of fun, and it went together so quickly because there's a lot of pieces, but I really had fun making that. So that was good.
And I think that's a good lesson in pre-cutting. That's something that we learned early on in retreats, is if you can cut out a project at home and take it to the retreat all cut out. I think you even had little baggies to say, like, this is part A, this is part B, this is part C. Then you can just sew when you're there, because I think sometimes it's a little distracting. There's noise. There's lots of stuff going on. You might cut something wrong. Not that we've ever done that.
No.
So it's really nice. You had that one fully cut out. So when you went to sew on it, you just, boom, went right ahead and this,
I was always kind of intimidated by it because to me it looked really difficult. But it went together in units. And so I got most of the units done up there. And then when we sewed together on Thursday, I was able to assemble it. So that part was really exciting.
And when she gets done with that quilt, she's passing it on to her friend.
Yeah.
And then it's coming back to me because I love that pattern too.
Yeah. And so then I made a couple of project bags.
Yeah.
This one, I absolutely love that fabric. I think that's so neat. I did not buy it up there. I bought it over at Ovation. And then this is out of the boat.
The boat, yeah.
As our friend Kathy was there, and she was digging with us as well, and she found this beachy fabric, which I thought was adorable, and then there was this nice green in there. So, guess what? Did that.
More project bags.
And then this is my. Oh no, I have to talk to you about this. All right. In that same bin where everything else was hidden, I came upon a pouch that had all kinds of stuff in it. All right. This is the pattern that I will be working on, maybe.
Yes.
my bee is called 3Bs. It's the block builder bee. And when we first started together, every month when someone hosted, they requested a block from every member of the bee. And so when I took this out of the bin, I thought, oh, great, I can put this together. Well, when I got there were only 9 blocks. I don't know what happened, but there were only 9.
12.
I need 12.
Yeah.
And there were 12 in our bee, so that meant I would make one. And anyway, somebody screwed up and didn't make one. But
some of the other ones.
they're really very pretty, and I gave them the background fabric.
I think the backgrounds.
And the cream. Yeah, I think that was it. I gave them this and the cream, and then they.
No, I think just the cream because these.
That's
two
right,
are
just
different.
the cream. Yeah, I gave them the
just
cream.
Just the cream for consistent.
And
then you told everybody to use bright.
Yeah, Christmas greens and Christmas reds.
Christmas greens and reds. Yeah.
So I only had 9, and so sitting across from my wonderful friends from Illinois, I said, "How would you guys like an opportunity?" And I showed them this, and they said, "Oh, that's so pretty." I said, "I need a couple more blocks," and they fell for it. So I happened to have enough patterns printed out and everything, and I had fabric because it was all in the bag. And so Paula and Betty each took one home. And then Pat, who was in our bee, I was talking to her, and I said, "How would you like an opportunity?" This was at breakfast, and Jennifer's going, "Run, go get more coffee. Don't stay, run." And Pat stayed. And when I told her what it was and showed her the pattern, she said, "I've always wanted to try paper piecing, but I didn't want a big project. This is perfect. I'd love to do one." So now I got 12 blocks. I told them it's not a panic, it's not a rush, but they can, they can get them done in the next couple of days. It'll be fine. No.
And I just wanted to show this is from a magazine called McCall's Quilting, which you subscribed to for a long time. And it is the December 2007 issue. And did you say the quilt name?
Oh.
Maybe
It's nameless. It's a Beauty of
Beauty
Christmas.
of Christmas is the quilt name, and it's designed by Karen A. Neary. So we don't know if this is something you can still purchase. You could probably keep an eye out for old copies of McCall's Quilting.
Right.
But we look forward to seeing you put this together in the fall.
I do,
when
too.
everybody brings their box back.
That'll be
It's
fun.
going to be really pretty.
And then, because it went into recycling and trash, there was one more project that was in that bin, and it was a block of the month from the Backdoor Quilt Shop from 2004. And it was red, white, and green, which means it was probably a Christmas theme. And so I thought, oh, great, I can work on these blocks. So I brought it up there, I opened it up. It was very obvious. I've already made it. But we don't know where it is. We haven't found the whole quilt yet. Yeah. Jennifer's here today, and if we have time after this, we're going to do a little digging. I might have the blocks that I hid away somewhere, like I hid everything else. But I couldn't work on them because I didn't have enough fabric. So I came home, cleaned it all out, put the papers in recycling, and the fabric, a lot of it went in the trash.
Right there. Yeah,
and this is what's left. And so obviously I didn't have enough to do all the blocks. So we'll see what happens. We may find the blocks, or it may be a mystery.
Yeah.
But my final thing I made, which I absolutely love, is this purse. And it's the London City bag by Pink Sand Beach Designs. And Betty took the pattern, so we don't have to show you. But this is so neat. It's got 2 pockets in the front, and it's got a pocket in the back, and it's got a zipper that you have to open. And it's got a zippered pocket inside, which is on the other side.
On the
It's got
other side.
other side, and it's got three little pockets inside. And then you make it with this the strap. And I love it. This is another one that's been in my bins for a long time. And I pre-cut it before I went, which was really good. Of course, I didn't read the instructions right, but it turned out okay. And so at one point I was like, gosh, I don't know what to work on. And Jennifer looked at me in her best mother, I'm so pissed at you voice. She said, damn it, work on that bag. So I worked on the bag. I got it done, and I love it.
And you love it.
I do.
Yes.
I do. I'm very pleased to have it done.
Did you say it's been to at least 3 retreats?
At least. But pre-cutting is what helped, because I could just sit down and I could sew.
Yeah.
Makes such a difference. And this one, it wasn't challenging to cut, but if you don't pay attention to the directions when you're cutting about 11 o'clock at night, you don't always get it cut properly. So it worked out fine. I had enough fabric, but I explained to Betty when I said, now when you make it, this is how you read the one first direction about cutting. So, but it was fun, and I loved it, and we had a good time.
All right. And that's all the stuff you worked on at retreat.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So in addition to binding my quilt, I brought a variety of projects that I'll share with you now. The first, I mentioned a couple episodes ago that I was going through my orphan blocks, and I found an orphan block called Cross Canoes, and it's from the pattern Sylvia's Bridal Sampler, which is an older pattern, but I decided to make it into a project bag. But when I pulled it out, I found that I also had 2 more pieces of the paper piecing paper printed out. So I made those into 2 more crossed canoes blocks. I had just enough of this fabric that all 3 canoes have that same kind of blue-green with the yellow dots on it, but then I just used different yellows. And I couldn't really decide how I was going to put it together. I made the 2 blocks, and then I laid them next to each other, which you won't see now, but if you look closely, you might see they're not the same size. So that made a real easy decision. I went ahead and put this one in the middle, inside of the bag, this one on the outside of the bag, and then I just took and used a bunch of scraps of yellow and green and blue. So when you open up the project bag here, there's a couple different stripes of color. And then I didn't have a piece that was big enough to do the binding and this piece here for the zipper. So when we went out to some of our quilt shopping, I just found a nice batik green fat quarter, and so that became the last part of the bag. So that was a really fun project bag to make. But the funny thing about this one, if you've done any paper piecing, you actually sew on top of paper, and then when you're done, you pull out the paper.
Some people do.
Yeah, but sometimes you forget to pull out the paper. So this one is kind of like a scratch and stiff because I forgot to pull out the paper on this block. It came out of the back too, but not this one. I fused it right to the fusible fleece and then went, oh, shoot.
Not what she said.
And so I have a noisy project bag now. So that
You'll always be able to find it.
Yes, that's true. That was my first project, and I am looking forward to using that one. And it was nice to take kind of an orphan block that had been sitting in my drawer for a while and do something fun with that. And then my next project is one that I have also brought to retreat at least 3 times. So this is another paper piece project. It's from the book Quilts with Attitude by Deb Karasik, and the quilt name is Harvest Moon. And I had printed out the papers. I was ready to go. I carted this back and forth to several retreats, and I finally made it. And it really didn't take that long at all. So this is the Harvest Moon, and I love it. I think it's going to be probably the next thing to go on my long arm, instead of, finishing the top and letting it sit for a long time.
It's stunning. It's really pretty.
Yeah, so I just had a variety of yellows and oranges all the way almost to browns to pick up to make that moon. And I think I had to buy a fat quarter. I had to buy a fat quarter for the border as well because I didn't have enough of one color. The thing I really like about the border is it's 2 different sizes. So this is, I think, a 1-inch strip and this is a 2-inch strip. So it just gives it a little bit of extra interest. This is a small quilt. It will go on a wall. I have 2 others that I've made from Deb Karasik as well. So my long-term plan is to have all 3 of them hang together. So that was really fun, and it emptied out a project bag that's had stuff in it for a long time.
She's learned from the master.
Yes. Okay, I think I'll share this next. So the next one is a project that I've been working on and off. It is a Judy Niemeyer pattern called Which Way North, and this actually came from our friend Lois. I think we might have mentioned before. We had a good friend, Lois, who passed away several years ago, unfortunately. And Lois was amazing. She left me all of her fabric stash. So I have fabric for a lifetime from Lois. And then you really coordinated a sale of her patterns, her books, her machines, her notions, everything. And we gave all that money back to her kids. So this is one of the patterns that I bought out of that sale. I understand this is now out of print, so it's a hot commodity. But I've always liked it. I've always liked that it has a lot of different batiks. I enjoy paper piecing. And so I brought a bunch with me, and I'll just kind of scroll through some of the different ones I made. I'll just start dropping them. See how fast Mom can catch. I think this one's my favorite. I love that. I love this orange with the blue. Oof. Yeah, I like this one too. You'll see more purple in mine than you'll ever see in Mom's.
I don't like that one.
She'll like this one.
I love that one.
Yeah. So you take the same fabric and you use it one time in the interior and one time in the exteriors.
And show them the back. So.
Yeah, so the back is this paper piecing pattern, and then you just add the strips onto the side. So total, I'm going to need, I don't know, like 40 something of these. I think I finished 12 or 15. And it was a lot of fun. Let's see, 2 more. This one. Ooh, this is my favorite too. I like that one. So that kept me busy for an afternoon. I still have lots of blocks to make for that quilt, and I'll just continue to work on it. There's no specific plan for that one. It's not a gift for someone or anything like that, so I'll just work on it as I want to. And then my next project, I think this is my favorite project from the retreat.
Everybody loved it.
This is a bag I bought in October. So we told you before, we had a little weekend in Michigan before our retreat last fall. And I picked this up, and it was all a panel. So I'm going to show you the panel, and then we'll take a more look at the bag. It's from QT Fabrics, and it's called the Take Along Tote. And all you have to add is interfacing and the binding here. And then you just kind of cut it all out. I did make some adjustments to the pattern. If you make it, I didn't feel like theirs called for enough interfacing, so I added additional interfacing in the pockets. I added twill tape in the handles to make them a little bit sturdier, and I did interface the bottom of the bag. They didn't have that as a direction, but I want that bottom to be a little more sturdy. So this was really fun and really easy to make. The instructions were pretty good. It's got the same rainbow fabric in the middle. I don't know how I'm going to use it yet. It's not really a purse, but it's kind of a notions bag. It'll probably wind up going to Stitch Retreat with me when we go for stitching, or quilt retreat, with just a bunch of the stuff I need.
The only thing she had to buy in addition to interfacing was this binding. And she picked that up at Zinks, I think.
I think so,
And it turned out that she thought she got a black one, and when she got out in the car, it was not black.
It was just a really dark gray.
It was dark gray, but it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. You couldn't ask for a better match.
Yeah.
So that was a real stroke of luck.
So I love this. So pretty. And I think everybody was calling the shop where I bought it the next day to see if they had any left. I haven't heard if anybody had luck. And then my last project, which I worked on the last day of retreat and the last morning, is called Urban Chained. It's a pattern from So Kind of Wonderful. And if you're a quilter, you might recognize these patterns are made with what's called a quick...
Show it on the back because you can see the whole pattern.
Oh,
the whole quilt.
yeah. Okay, that's a better picture. Yeah, so this one is made with the quick curve ruler. Let's see if we have something that doesn't have writing. And so this is a really interesting ruler. This is the cut line here. Their patterns are outstanding at telling you how to line everything up so you cut at the right place and then you make your curved pieces. I have this ruler, and I also have the Quick Curve Mini. This is my 4th project from the Quick Curve or Mini, and I've made them all at Shipshewana. So it was really fun. And I had bought a fat quarter pack for these. A couple of years ago, one of the quilt shops that used to be up in that area was closing. They had some great deals. And so what I have now is I have all my rows together. And let's see, that's the back. There's some more.
It's all webbed.
I webbed it all together. So it would come home and I wouldn't get messed up on kind of which was which. But they're lovely, like magentas and greens and blues and browns. So the plan is to get this one into a finished quilt top relatively soon, and then it'll be fun to figure out how to quilt these curved angles. So that was my last project, and that took us into late morning, early afternoon on Sunday.
We sewed till about 11 or 11:30.
Yeah. So that's everything we did at retreat. I think just a couple more things about the town we wanted to talk about.
The two quilt shops are great. You know, you can find just about anything. Lolly's has some gorgeous fabrics. They've got Christmas, they've got flannels, they've got orientals, they've got everything.
Yeah.
And Yoder's has a great selection of blenders and solids and everything. So it's definitely worth going to both of them. There are two other places that we haven't mentioned. There's one called JoJo's, which happens to be in the same mercantile with Lolly's, and it's actually, as you step out the door, there's JoJo's right in front of you, and they have the best pretzels. This one eats so many pretzels every weekend. She only ate 2 this weekend, I think, which is shocking. Three, okay.
Yeah.
Usually she's up to 4 or 5.
Yeah.
She has a pretzel. They have a punch card, and every time you get a pretzel, you punch it. Well, all of our group carry pretzel cards so that they can get them punched to give them to her.
Yeah.
So, because none of them are going to finish up a whole pretzel card, where she can get them to do a card in a weekend. You know, so that works out well.
They're so good. And you walk into the building. It's called the Davis Mercantile. And you walk into the building, and the smell of the butter pretzels just hits you. It's amazing. The other thing I want to comment on, because a lot of people go to Shipshewana and they eat at one of the great big restaurants. There's a big restaurant called the Blue Gate, and there's one down the road in Middlebury called Essen House. Those are both okay. We've been there. They have big Amish meals. If you're looking for like a meal the size of a Thanksgiving dinner,
lots of carbs.
They're good. Lots of carbs. You get noodles and mashed potatoes and
gravy and
stuffing
bread and stuffing.
We have done that, but we have learned we need to eat a little lighter, especially if we're going to have 5 pretzels. So we have found a place up on the top floor of the Davis Mercantile. So if you go there, we highly recommend. It's called Millie's Market Cafe, and you can get lunch up there. They have great salads, sandwiches,
soups,
hamburgers, soups. So depending what time of year you go, if you want a warm lunch or a cool lunch, you can get a great lunch up there. And
the Amish ladies make the pies, so they're really good. Yeah, definitely worth it. And then the other place is the E&S Bulk Food Store. And that is very popular with the tourists, with the locals, with the Amish. You know, you always see a great mix of people in there. Yeah. They only take cash or checks. So you can write an out-of-town check, but you can't flip a credit card at them. But they do have a credit card machine in their walk-in, so you can get money if you need it.
Get cash.
But they have all kinds of stuff, and one of the things we always get, we get a bag of goodies when we get to the retreat, and there's a coupon book in there, and one of them is for a free bag of noodles from E&S. So that always requires a trip to E&S, because you need to buy the free bag of noodles, because you have to spend another $30 on other stuff. And so they have great everything.
Candies. We usually get dark chocolate malted milk balls. They have their selection is great of milk chocolate and dark chocolate. So if you're a milk chocolate fan, you can get tons of stuff that's covered in milk chocolate. If you're a dark chocolate fan, tons of stuff. And then this time we found cherry sours. Yes. They were out in the fall, but we were excited. We love cherry sours.
And they also have spices. They have wonderful spices. Yeah. I buy minced onion up there, and parsley, and pumpkin pie spice, all kinds of stuff. And the prices are so reasonable for the quantity. It beats anything in the grocery store. Yeah. So I always try and stock up on that. And then they get farm dust, which I'm not crazy about, but a bunch of people in our group love it.
Yeah.
And
it's a seasoning. It's a seasoning that you use instead of salt and pepper, and it has several spices in it. It is salted. I think you can get a no salt version. We usually get the salted version, and we go through about a jar a year.
Yeah,
and
they have general food goods too. You know, I mean, people do their grocery shopping there and everything.
We got some really tasty cheese.
Oh, we got some good cheese, some pepper cheese. Oh my gosh!
So if you make a trip to Shipshewana, definitely make stops for JoJo's and for E&S Bulk Foods. There's also several other shops kind of along the main drag there. You could easily spend a day or two just shopping and exploring all the shops.
And lots of money.
Yes. Or you could come join us at another retreat in the future. So, like I said, we'll put the retreat information down below if anybody's interested. If you do wind up coming, please let us know. We would love to meet you.
And we do have introductions on Friday night.
Yeah.
So Thursday night.
The first night.
Thursday night. No, Wednesday's the first night. It's Thursday.
Yeah.
The first full day, Thursday. So if you can't find us before then, which would be shocking, you can certainly, because there is a seating chart and it actually has our real names on it. And
we stand out because we're the tallest ladies in the room pretty much.
And so if you come, it would be great to meet you.
Yeah.
Spend some time with you.
Yeah.
So
I think that's everything. I hope you all have enjoyed this special version that was totally quilting focused. And let us know if you have any questions. We'll be happy to answer them below. And we look forward to seeing you back in another week or so with a bunch of stitching updates because we've also been stitching.
yes, we have.
All right. Have a good day.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.